You never forget your first love. Not really. You might forget their number. You might forget the exact sound of their voice. You might even forget the details of their face. But you never forget how they made you feel. And that feeling, that specific feeling of being seen by someone for the very first time, you have been chasing it ever since. Whether you admit it or not, think about it. The first time someone chose you, not because they had to, not out of obligation, not out of habit, but because out of everyone, they chose you. Do you remember what that felt like? That nervous stomach, that ridiculous smile you could not stop no matter how hard you tried. That feeling of counting the hours until you could see them again. That was not just love. That was you discovering for the very first time that you were worthy of being loved. And that is why it never completely leaves you. Your first love was not just a person. It was a moment in your life when everything felt possible, when the world was still simple, when love had not yet taught you to be careful. You loved without strategy, without fear, without walls, without the armor you wear today. You gave everything, completely, recklessly, beautifully, because you did not yet know that love could hurt you. And then it ended, maybe slowly, maybe suddenly, maybe with a conversation that changed everything, maybe with a silence that said more than any words ever could. And something inside you shifted that day, something that was open, quietly closed, something that was fearless, learned what fear was for the first time. You told yourself you were fine. You moved on. You laughed. You lived. You loved again. But somewhere in the quiet moments, at 2 a.m., when the world is still, or when a song comes on that you did not expect, you feel it, that familiar ache, not because you want them back, but because you miss the version of yourself that existed when you were with them. The version of you that loved without overthinking, that trusted without questioning, that felt everything without being afraid to feel. That person, that open, fearless, deeply feeling version of you, they did not disappear. They just got buried under every heartbreak that came after. Here is what psychology says about first love. It rewires your brain. The emotions you experience during first love create some of the deepest neural pathways your brain will ever form. That is why a song, a smell, a street corner can take you completely back in seconds. Your brain literally saved that love differently than any love that came after. It was the first time your heart learned what it was capable of feeling, and the brain never forgets its firsts. But here is what I need you to hear. Your first love was not your only love. It was your first lesson. It taught you what your heart was capable of. It showed you how deeply you could feel, how freely you could give, how beautifully you could love when you were not yet afraid. And if you loved that deeply then, imagine what you are capable of now. Not despite your heartbreaks, because of them. Every scar on your heart is not damage. It is depth. It is wisdom. It is the proof that you were brave enough to love when loving was the most terrifying and most beautiful thing you had ever done. So, if your first love is on your mind today, let yourself feel it for a moment. Not with regret, not with pain, but with gratitude. Because they did not just break your heart, they opened it. And an open heart, no matter how many times it has been broken, is still the most powerful thing a human being can have. Your first love did not leave you broken. They left you deeper, and deeper people love harder, feel more, live fuller, and that is the most beautiful thing love ever gave you. If this took you somewhere for a moment, follow life lessons, because we believe the people who have loved deeply deserve to understand themselves deeply. And you are exactly that kind of person.